If you are looking at this video right now, then you are probably a chief executive, an owner, or an entrepreneur looking for new ways to kickstart your growth. The last few years have created so many challenges for us all, and what we've had to do is we've had to change and pivot and build and innovate at a much faster rate and in a more savvy way than we've had to for decades, probably forever. You've probably got concerns about being at the crossroads of a major decision. You might be feeling beleaguered or exhausted by the pace of change and the challenges that have been coming at you from every direction for the past few years. You might be feeling that a pivot that you made hasn't gone so well, or an investment that you've made in an acquisition might not have been integrated as well as you'd like. You might feel that there are some inefficiencies that have come from that. Or perhaps the digitization of absolutely everything has exhausted you and your team and taken the wind out of your sails. All of these things have been facing chief executives over the last few years, and the interviews that I do on my conversation series, my online conversation series called Thrive 2030, I speak to chief executives most weeks about what's going on in their business. And they tell me that they're proud of the fact that they have made these pivots and made the changes and moved on, and they're feeling very confident about, the adjustments that they've made. However, there is still a lot of uncertainty going forward. Not only do we have to deal with the pandemic and make these rapid digitization adjustments to be able to work from home and cope with the desire for people to remain in a hybrid working situation, we're also facing other growth challenges which are coming from the rising prices, which are stemming from the fuel shortages, which is also putting pressure on industries and markets. Then we've got the blocked supply chain, which has been blocked for a couple of years, and people I interview on Thrive 2030 are telling me that supply chain is likely to remain blocked for at least another 2 years, and that we're just going to have to get used to making these further adjustments. While these pressures are coming at us, it's putting upward pressure on price and downward pressure on profit. And so chief executives need to look forward into the horizon. The challenge is that while you are fighting fires and making rapid adjustments to these external environmental challenges, the thing is that you are working in the business, furiously trying to keep it going and adjusting to it to make sure you meet productivity and profit performance. However, it's really important right now that you step back and take a moment to think about where you're going. Step back and consider your growth curve and start working on the business instead of in it. Every business has a growth journey, and the businesses go up and down a little bit. So, like the black and white TV came along and then it died off, and then a colored TV came along and then it died off, and then the video came along and then it died off. Businesses go through these phases too. Each time a business goes through a drop in its growth, and it climbs again, and it drops and it climbs, in those drops, the dips in your growth curve, those are the periods when you have to make an adjustment. There are several things that occur at that period, and those are the things that chief executives need to be much more cognizant of in order to be able to plan the next phase. Each one of those dips is taking you from one phase in your growth to the next, and when I get involved with chief executives, it's usually when the organization is having difficulty getting from one phase to the next. They're straddling phases and it's causing tension. So over the period of the COVID journey, throughout that period, as I watched people suffering, I decided I could do something better for you. I'm Pamela Young, and I've been working as a consultant and an executive in the global environment for many years, almost 3 decades. In that time, I've worked for over 100 chief executives around the world in New Zealand, Australia, Southeast Asia, Europe, all across the UK, the USA, and further afield. On that journey, I have done some really major strategic transformational change projects. And when I get involved in those projects, they're all consuming for a couple of years. One organisation gets the benefit of the experience and the IP that I bring to the table. I decided through COVID that I would like to change that, and I would like to make it possible possible for more of you, chief executives, owners and entrepreneurs, to get access to the support that I provide to these organisations at the same time. And I decided to go with the new environment, the new world, which is the opportunity to deliver some of this offering to you online in bite-sized pieces that you can do in your own time. In my journey, I have spent quite a lot of time working with chief executives on the strategic review. And then once we do the strategic review, which is the diagnostic of the business, where we look at the growth curve and the growth journey to make sure that you're not straddling phases and to make sure that your trajectory is uninterrupted. If it is interrupted, we identify the hurdles and we remove them, and then we plan for growth. That is about the time that we start to design a transformation program so that you can get from one phase to another. If you can get from point A to B, you can get from being a national firm to a global firm. Whatever the journey is, the transformation is designed to get you there. And then the third thing that we do is that we wrap around this process a very deep understanding of organisational culture, country culture, national culture, and how those three cultures impact on your business, whether it's local or global. There are forces operating in those cultures that either aid or inhibit your growth journey. So what I've done is I've bundled together my best IP and tools, methods, and frameworks, and I have put them into an online series of programs for chief executives, owners and entrepreneurs to do in their own time. The first of these is called CEOExpand, and it is one of a suite of products from a series that I have called CEO Assets, because what we're doing is we are delivering to you the learning and the skills and the confidence to do this work yourself, and in doing that we're providing you with an asset which you will be able to use in your career, use in your job, and use in life, because a lot of the skills are transferable. My journey around the world has also been in both the East and the West, as I mentioned, those countries that I've worked in. And because I have worked in both the East and the West, I have been totally immersed in lots of different cultures. Even being totally immersed in a different Western culture has created some challenges. When you put a Kiwi in Australia or a Kiwi in America, in France or Germany, all of our cultures are very different. And so you learn very quickly when you're immersed in another person's culture how to adapt to the differences, how to listen and observe. Because I have lived in both the East and the West, what I would like you to know is that these programs are designed with the assumption that there will be a diverse community. The assumption that there will be chief executives from across both East and Western nations, and the assumption that you will be leading business have a multicultural and diverse community of employees. So therefore, some of the learning throughout this journey will be to help you manage those multicultural workforces through this transition, through the transformation, and also when you're adapting your culture. So how do you get your hands on this CEOExpand offer? The first thing that you do is below this video I have put in a link to my calendar, and the best way to decide whether this program is fit for you is to have a conversation with me. So I put a link into my calendar for a free 45-minute consult by Zoom. We have the conversation where you'll share with me what your growth journey has been, what your challenges are, and whether you feel that you're at a dip. And even if you don't feel that you've got a current problem or challenge, you may just want to prepare your organisation for 2030. You may want to prepare it for adapting to the continuous outflow of new advanced technologies. You may want to prepare it for the changes that you're going to need to put in place to make sure that your workforce is fully skilled and enabled by 2030. So you don't have to have a problem, you just might want to take up an opportunity to step back from the organisation, step back from working in the business, and start working on the business by doing a strategic review, a diagnostic, and plan that growth curve to make sure that it is uninterrupted. So the first product that I'm taking to market is called CEOExpand, and it is designed to expand your thinking, expand your capability, expand your knowledge and your confidence to be able to make the changes in your business and drive it forward. It is an environment for you to have some space to think. I deliver through video the same workshops that I deliver in presentations with my top teams at workshops. I have cut it down into bite-sized pieces. I'm delivering you materials which I would normally take to a workshop, and you are able to view those materials in your own time. And so it gives you an opportunity to think about how to apply that learning to your organisational setting. And then we have live Zoom calls along the way, so that as you're applying the learning to the new setting or to your setting, you can test your ideas with me as you go along. So in order to see whether this is going to be a really good fit for you as a chief executive to do the learning on this program, it's 12 weeks of learning, and it has 6 modules, and you get to drive the pace. So you get to view the videos, do the learning in your own time, think about how you're going to apply them, do the exercises that I set for you at the end of each of the 6 modules, and then bring those back for discussion in the live Zoom coaching calls along the way. So if you would hit the button below right now, go down, find the button, and if you click on it and go to my calendar, you'll be able to see that there are a few spaces left for the next few days. It is filling up fast, so if you delay for a day or so and then try and find a space and can't find one, contact me via email and I may be able to open up another slot for you.